Hi, data scamps and data champs. OpenAI has finally released a long-awaited GPT-5, and our instructor Josip has been diving deep into all the new features. In this tutorial, you'll get hands-on with examples covering what's new in the chat app and the API. Follow along using the code linked in the description below, where you'll also find our latest OpenAI courses to help you level up even faster. Happy learning!
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Jeb Ferre, and today we're diving into one of the biggest AI releases of the year, GPT-5, OpenAI's brand new flagship model. It's hard to believe it's only been 32 months since ChatGPT first launched. Remember, at the time, almost everyone was completely ignorant to this technology, to large language model. But it only took 1 week to get 1 million users. Fast forward to today, and over 700 million people use it every single week for work, learning, creativity, and just about everything in between. That's what makes this launch so impactful. ChatGPT has become the default AI tool for millions, especially those who stick to the simple chat interface. In Sam Altman's own words, if GPT-3 felt like talking to a bright high schooler and GPT-4o like chatting with a skilled college graduate, GPT-5 feels like having a whole team of PhD-level experts ready to help in almost any field. Funny enough, Elon Musk used nearly the same analogy when unveiling Grok 4 3 weeks ago. Now, after 3 years of stop-and-start hype, many expected GPT-5 to be a massive leap straight toward AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. What we've actually got is less of a sci-fi gem and more of a huge usability upgrade, unifying all of OpenAI's previous models into one seamless, adaptive system. We will see more about this in a moment. So now, GPT-5 isn't just better at answering questions. It can plan, it can build, and it can take action. One of the biggest upgrades of this new model is its ability to write code, but it can still conduct deep research and simplify complex topics, offer nuanced, context-aware and advice for major decisions, and act as an on-demand team of specialists right in your pocket. OpenAI has also doubled down on personalization. Whether you're using the mobile app or the browser version, you can now have live voice conversations, pick a custom voice, and even tweak the interface colors if you're on a Plus or Pro subscription. A brand new integration with Google Workspace will roll out as well, making GPT-5 even easier to fit into your daily workflow. With its improved memory system and all the new customization options, ChatGPT is starting to feel like it actually knows you. Here's what we're going to cover today: a tour of GPT's 5 new capabilities and its interface, some hands-on demos in both ChatGPT interface and using the API, and a comparison with previous GPT models and other models. So let's jump in. GPT-5 replaces all GPT-4 era models with a single integrated system that automatically balances speed and deep reasoning, offering consistent behavior without manual switching. You can observe in the table on screen the correspondences between the previous ChatGPT models and the GPT-5 models today. And we will see right now that in the interface we cannot select anymore the model. There's only one name, and it is GPT-5. Alright, so now let's start using ChatGPT. The first thing is, of course, just going to their website. Just go to wherever browser you use and search for ChatGPT. And if we go to the first option, we will go to the official OpenAI page for ChatGPT. In this case, try ChatGPT. And it will ask us to log in. If you don't have an account yet, you should sign up. If I stay logged out for now, we'll be able to see the most important part of the ChatGPT interface, but we won't have all the users' features. And most importantly, I will be asked to log in order to access to the advanced features. So in my case, I'm gonna log in now. Alright, so now my own ChatGPT interface will be loaded, and now you can see the interface we are used to. Basically, here we have introducing GPT-5. We know it was just launched yesterday, so basically it's really, really new. It's introducing. So the first big difference with this interface compared to the previous one is that when we just go to the models, we will see there's only one model, GPT-5. There's no any other model. That's important. We will see that if we go to other models, there's like the GPT-5 Thinking and GPT-5 Pro. We will explain a little bit more about GPT-5 and GPT-5 Thinking, but now let's go to the pricing, because if you see the GPT-5 Pro asked me to upgrade. So if I check the pricing now, I will see that there's three main subscriptions. There's like the free subscription that basically it means that you pay nothing. And this is actually one of the most important news of this upgrade. And basically it is that it allows all users, no matter if they pay or not, to access to the latest model, to GPT-5. But in this case, there are like quite important restrictions. So there's some limit to access to GPT-5, but still you can't access, because as I said before, all models disappeared. Now there's no difference between GPT-5 or any other a smaller model than before. Only the paying users could access to GPT-4, and the free users only could access to previous models. And then there's like two main memberships here, the Plus and the Pro. The Plus basically cost 23 euros per month, and it gives you access to GPT-5, but still it has some limits. We will see that now the Plus user has some limits as well. But still, it will be more than okay to just use GPT as you did before and for daily usage. And then we'll have the Pro that costs 229 euros per month. And in this case, it has everything included in the Plus, but unlimited access to GPT-5 and, more important, access to GPT-5 Pro. In this case, GPT-5 Pro is a more advanced model that basically takes more time into thinking and into reasoning, and it will be only accessible through this Pro membership. All right, so now let's move to the pricing of the API. Basically, and in contrast to the ChatGPT interface, when using the API, we do have different GPT-5 models. So in this case, we have three different variants you can see here, and you can just go check this information directly on the API documentation in the introduction of using GPT-5. And as you can observe with the names, we have GPT-5 and two smaller versions, GPT-5 Mini, the medium version, and GPT-5 Nano, the smallest version. So as they explain, GPT-5 is for complex reasoning, broad world knowledge, and code-heavy or multi-step agentic tasks. GPT-5 Mini, that is like the medium version, is a cost-optimized reasoning and chat balances the speed, cost, and capability. And the GPT-5 Nano is high throughput tasks, especially simple instructions following or classification. As you can imagine, the smaller the model is, the lower the price for it will be. So if we now go check the pricing, using the API, we will still be able to access all the previous models of the GPT family. But in this case, their main goal is that people start using the latest ones. So in this case, we can see that GPT-5 is the most expensive model of the new models, actually, because there's previous models that are more expensive. Remember, this is always the price per million tokens. So in this case, GPT-5, it would be $1.25 by input. And if we go to the GPT-5 Mini, this price is 5 times lower. It's $0.25. And if we go to the Nano, it's even cheaper. All right. But we can still find more expensive models like GPT 4o or GPT 4.1. But in this case, the main explanation is the context window, because if we go check these three models, we will see the context windows of all of them is 400K tokens. And this is actually around the half of the context windows we had, for instance, for GPT 4.1. Just to see this, we can just go to the model section here, and we will have the featured models. If we want to see like the archive or previous models, we can just go scroll down. But for instance, for the GPT-5, if we go check it out, we will see it has like 400,000 context window, basically. Now we are back to the ChatGPT interface, and we will see that everything is almost the same, but we cannot change between models. There's only one model. It is GPT-5, and we will see that depending on the prompts we are sending to it, it will decide if it answers right away, if it doesn't need any time to process the whole thing, or if it needs some reasoning. That's why we have the option to select GPT-5 thinking. In this case, we are forcing the model always to have like a little bit more time to think or to process the prompt. So for instance, if I'm just sending a simple hello, like a dummy prompt to the model, we will see that now it just answered me right away, because of course it is quite a dummy prompt to send. Hello, how's your Friday going so far? But if I'm forcing the model to think, I'm just selecting ChatGPT 5 thinking, and in this case, I will send exactly the same prompt, and I will see that now I'm forcing the model to think. That's the main difference between these two. But you will see that depending on the prompts using GPT-5, some of them will require more time to be answered than others. Some new features that have been added are basically the customization. So the first thing is that we can go to settings, and in the settings we can just select a different accent color. For those of you that noticed before, everything was using gray colors basically, and now I'm using a blue one. So in this case, going to your user here, just clicking on settings and then on general, you will see the accent color, and I can just change to whatever color I want. So let's just select the yellow one, and now you'll see that the background has been updated and all my prompts are colored in this color I just selected. Another good feature that has been added is that basically if I go now to personalization and I go on the customized ChatGPT, we will see that now I can select between different personalities, basically. This means that by default, we will have a model that is cheerful and adaptive, but I can choose other personalities, just like cynic, that it will be critical and sarcastic, robot, efficient and blunt, listener, thoughtful and supportive, or nerd, exploratory and enthusiastic. So basically, I can select wherever I want, and just on saving, the model will be updated. So basically, these are features that have been upgraded because OpenAI is pushing a lot on the customization and making users feel that their own GPT model is like more connected, right? Basically, you have like a more personal relationship, or like even that the model knows you better. So you can choose a personality, and of course, you can choose like a color for the interface. Another good feature is the integration with, in this case, the Google Workspace. So if we go here into the settings and we go to connectors, we would be able to enable new connectors. And the main idea behind this is that we can add Gmail, for instance, and Google Calendar. So we can let the model, in this case GPT, to see our schedules, all our meetings, and our mails, so it can understand better our workflow, and we can actually ask it right away to just plan our schedule for tomorrow, for instance, or just to answer right away mails for us. Some additional features that are new to this GPT-5 is the first one, the voice interaction. So basically right now I can just press on this button here and I can start interacting using my voice with the GPT model, and it will answer right away. So let's just make a try on it. Hello, GPT.
Hey, Josep. Great to hear from you. What are we diving into today?
That's super cool. Actually, today I want to test you and see how intelligent or how good you are, because I don't know if you know, but yesterday you were upgraded to your latest model, GPT-5.
Ah, well, that's an interesting twist. I didn't get any memo about being GPT-5, but I'm definitely happy to roll with the test and see how I do. So go ahead, throw any challenge my way, and let's have some fun with it.
That's great. Just for testing purposes, could you switch to Spanish and talk to me in Spanish a little bit?
Claro que sí. Puedo cambiar al español sin problema. Así que a partir de ahora, podemos charlar en español el tiempo que quieras. Tú me dices.
That's great. Thank you so much. So as you saw, basically I can just interact with the model using my voice. And here you will see that everything I said, it is transcribed. And then we can switch to other languages, of course, and just use it for whatever we want. So actually during the live stream of the presentation of GPT-5, one of the engineers that was there was using GPT-5 to try to learn Korean. So actually, I think that's a good way to use this new model to just try to chat in whatever language you are learning or whatever language you have some interest on. Another important upgrade or feature is basically the safeguard of answering complicated prompts, trying to be helpful and not just like rejecting without giving any other explanation. So basically, whenever we try to ask some dangerous questions to GPT before. For instance, I don't know, I want to create a bomb, just explain me how to do it. The model would refuse without any further explanation. And now if we try, I want to create a bomb. Sorry, a bomb. Please explain me how you do so. You will see that even though the model cannot answer this, because of course I can do something really dangerous with this information, it's still helpful and it tries to explain me why it cannot give me this information. I can give you an instruction to create a bomb or anything dangerous. But if what you need is help with a safe and legal project, we can absolutely work on something together that's educational or creative. For example, I can explain the science behind the explosion in a purely theoretical way. So right now the model has a better approach into making sure that everything it says is still safe and it doesn't give any information that might end up being a harm towards someone, but still it is helpful and it maintains a positive tone towards the user. All right, so now that we understand better what GPT-5 is and the upgrades it has undergone, let's just put into a test and have some hands-on demos with the interface. So the first thing I want to do is just to check the knowledge and the fact-checking abilities of GPT-5. So the first question and prompt I'm going to send is, what was the outcome of the 2024 US presidential election, including the winner, key vote margins in swing states, and any major post-election events up to July 2025? And some more clarification, and let's see how the model works. So as you see, it was kind of complex prompt. So now it's thinking. If we press here, we will see the whole reasoning that it's happening under the hood. I think the user experience of this is not really well done, because actually it is something that for me took a while to realize, because I thought the GPT didn't show the whole reasoning. So for me, it doesn't feel like you can click on this text here, right? But anyway, you can click on it and you can just see the whole reasoning that's happening. So I need to gather reliable sources to summarize the 2024 election details, and then it's searching, it's browsing the internet, and then again, it's just making some reasoning and browsing again, and we can see the whole processing. And still we see it takes quite a long time to do it. But of course, it is browsing the internet, and I am asking for cross-checking against reliable sources to avoid outdated or inaccurate information. So I expect it to take quite a long time to do it. So it just finished. It took 58 seconds to process the whole output. And here we can see the winners, of course, Donald Trump, and the key swing state margins. And then it's structuring and making like a whole text for me. So we can see that basically it can browse the internet, it can use tools, and it has quite a lot of knowledge, but still it can do like a deep reasoning and just answer wherever we're asking. Still, I can click here and I can see the whole reasoning process, which is something that I really like. I actually already said it when I was using Grok 4, but it is really useful to see if the model was actually following our prompt or not. So the first task was really well done. All right, the second task, it's actually something I saw during the live stream, and for me, it was quite amazing. So we are first going to use the model, like the usability of the model, and then I'm going to test the coding capabilities. So the first prompt is about physics. I'm going to ask, give me a quick refresher on the Bernoulli effect and why airplanes are the shape they are. So I expect it to be quite fast, because in the end it's quite an easy prompt, and now it's making a whole explanation about it. But the thing that amazed me during the live stream was now asking, explain this in detail and create a moving SVG in Canvas to show me. So this second prompt is going to take longer. So now the reasoning is activated. Here we can see the reasoning that's happening under the hood. Okay, they want a moving SVG animation in a canvas. So basically this is the complicated part. We will see how it goes, and it will start coding right away. But a new feature that I find like really interesting is that you see here the run code button. So basically now we can just execute any code that GPT generates directly on the interface. So let's see if we can see an animated version of this Bernoulli effect. So now it already has like over 100 coding clients. All right, so it is done. It took quite a long time. It is still like generating the output, like the explanation I asked, but let's test the code. So here you will see the interface of the code GPT just generated. And it is really nice because we can just change the angle of the element we have, and we can see the air going through. And it is a really, really nice way to just understand this effect directly. So for me, this is like completely a 10. It was I was completely amazed during the live stream, and when I tested on my own GPT-5 model, I saw it actually worked. Of course, like if you try different iterations of the exactly same prompt, you will see that the interface keeps changing actually. And for instance, now it's blue and it has like this sidebar here with the controls and here the animation, but sometimes it will have like an animation in the lower part. But still, the whole thing is really, really crazy and it's really good. So now the third task is going to be just testing the math capability of the model. So the first thing I'm going to ask is a mathematical problem. If x and y are the tens digit and the units digit, respectively, of the product of these two numbers, what is the value of x plus y? And so basically, the model just answered right away. It didn't reason at all. And the answer is correct. So it worked really, really good. So it's really nice. And let's try a second problem that I actually used for the Croc for testing as well. And it is use all digits from 0 to 9 exactly once to make three numbers x, y, z such that x plus y equals z. Actually, this has like multiple solutions, but in this case, it's taking a longer time because it's like a more complex problem. And again, we can see the whole reasoning process that's happening under the hood, which is really, really nice. We will see how much it takes. So actually it already answered. It has an answer done. It is correct. So it was quite fast, to be very honest. So really good. So for the first task, what I want to see is basically its ability to do like a multi-step searching. And I'm going to ask it to please find the latest article that has been published on DataCamp blog, summarize information it contains in 5 sentences, and provide a link to the post. And basically, this prompt is quite complicated because I'm not stating which is the blog of DataCamp, so it has to browse the internet, find the blog, and then find the latest post that has been posted there, and just after it has achieved all of this, summarize information in 5 sentences. So let's see how it goes. I need to say I have already tried this, and it has failed some of the times. Like the processing so far is good. It's just searching for the account blog post. Now it's searching for the content. I don't see the block here, so we will see if it finds actually where the articles are. So it did it properly. It was actually quite fast. Here's the latest post on DataCamp's blog, GPT-5 new features, tests, benchmarks, and more. And of course, it is correct. The latest article is about GPT-5. And in this case, it did all right, but I've experienced myself a few times that it has failed doing this task. So in this case, I'm a little bit more hesitant on this multi-step browsing, but still, like the model is quite new, so I still need to test it a little bit more. But like the answer right now was quite all right. Now for the 5th task, what I want to do is check the ability of ChatGPT of the ChatGPT's interface, basically, to upload some document and just read it and get some information out of it, because I think it's a really handy use case, and many people use this kind of models and especially this kind of interfaces in order to do exactly this, just to upload any paper, PDF, report they're working with and extract the most important information. And actually, one of the biggest complaints of the upgrade of GPT-5, especially for paying users that are under the Plus membership, is that the Windows context of the interface is just 32K tokens. When you're a free user, this context windows is just decreased to 8K tokens, and it is quite short context windows, especially when compared to other competitors that allow to have like over 100K or even 200K. I'm gonna send the following prompt: analyze this entire report and identify the 3 most informative graphs, summarize each one and let me know which page of the PDF they appear on. And now I'm just gonna upload the document here. In this case, I'm uploading the Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum, and we will see how the model performs this task. All right, so it's already uploaded. Now it's reading the documents. And actually, it was quite a fast answer. In this case, too fast for my taste. And the answer is not accurate enough, because actually in the page 17, there's no chart in this report. So as expected, we can see that even though the whole processing and everything was quite fast, the results are not good enough, and especially compared to other alternatives, like for instance Grok 4. I did this exactly task with Grok 4, and it was really well performed. So in this case, we see that these small context windows is a problem when you want to work with big files, basically. So my next task is basically checking the PhD expertise of GPT-5, and especially after Sam Altman's words that he stated that working with GPT-5 basically means working with PhD level experts of any field. So the main idea here is I'm gonna attach a physics question for PhD level. Basically, I'm going to ask to evaluate its ability of PhD by answering the problem 2 that I just attached here. I will send. And basically, the main idea is to see how it reasons. Of course, it will take a long time. We can see that already it's just triggering the whole deep reasoning. And another interesting thing is that there's always this option of get a quick answer that I can click and right away obtain an answer. So in this case, I think if you send a prompt that you don't think it's that complicated and it's making like a whole reasoning to answer it, it might be useful, but I don't imagine any other use case for this button in this case, because in the end, if the model itself thinks that it needs a bigger reasoning, and of course we want to have like a good output, I don't think it's a good idea just to use it for whatever reason. But still, we can use the whole reasoning track here to see what's the process that the GPT-5 is undergoing. So the process so far feels quite all right. It's just wondering about the vector potential here. This problem involves a surface current K on the Z equals 0 plane. It's an electromagnetism problem of physics. So basically it's doing like the whole physics reasoning of the problem. And I'm quite curious about how long will it take just to answer the whole thing. We will see. So actually it didn't take that long to do the whole reasoning. And we will see now that it's doing the whole answer. And a really nice thing to have is that it's using a mathematical way of just writing the equations and everything. Because in Grok 4, the interface, the user experience of this was not really good enough, because it was not using the proper mathematical formulation, but instead it was using just like normal words and letters just to write the whole thing down. So we can see that the processing is quite all right. It's generating a really structured and long answer for the question. And it really understood the problem I was sending, and it made like a proper answer for it. The seventh task basically is to check the debugging capabilities. So in this case, I'm gonna send a function that doesn't work properly, and we will see if GPT-5 can determine if it is well or wrong formulated, and why, and how long does it take. So basically, the main idea here is that I will send a Fibonacci function, but the Fibonacci function is not correct. So let's see how long does it take for it. So basically, it was right away. It didn't do any reasoning at all, and it's already determined there's like an issue. The wrong recurrence relation. The Fibonacci sequence is defined as the following instead of loop direction. So basically, this is the problem. The loop goes downwards from n to 1 instead of just going the other way around. So it was really, really fast. It didn't do any reasoning at all, which is quite impressive, and it sent the corrected version back. So for this task, the performance was really, really good. All right, so for the following task, I'm going to replicate one of the prompts that I saw during the live stream that was really impressive for me as well. And in this case, I'm going to check again the coding capabilities, but to test out the canvas and its ability to execute directly the code that is generated by GPT-5. I'm going to use this prompt. I adapted. It's exactly the same that they used during the live stream, but a little bit adapted. So the idea is, I am asking the model to create a beautiful, highly interactive web app for my partner, an English speaker, to learn Spanish. I want it to track the daily progress, use a highly engaging theme, include a variety of activities, flashcard quizzes, etc. And one activity should be a snake-style game in which the snake is replaced by a mouse and the apples are replaced by a tortilla de patatas. For those of you who don't know, a tortilla de patatas is basically a typical Spanish food. Each time the mouse eats a piece of the tortilla de patatas, play a voiceover that introduces a new Spanish word so users can practice pronunciation while playing. Make it controllable with the arrow keys. So let's see first how much time it takes for the model. So it understood right away the whole thing. So now it's structuring what it needs to do, and now it's just coding right away. Let's see how fast it is. So apparently it is already finished. So let's execute the code. You can see here, Aprende Español, like learn Spanish. And it's using like the Spain's flags colors, which is quite fun. Oh, but in this case, let me see if pressing the buttons. No. So it doesn't seem to be working. I'm gonna stop it, okay, and I'm gonna tell the model it is not working. I cannot click any button or play any of the options. Let's see if it's able to fix it. Before it worked actually, and during the live stream, of course, it worked as well, and it gave some really good results. But to be very honest, during the whole testing of GPT-5, I still have like some mixed feelings because it's really good, but at the same time, some of the results were not good enough. And I don't feel like there's a really, really huge leap compared to GPT 4.5. So yeah, like I kind of understand the whole upgrade and the interface improvement, but still some of the times I feel, because I'm quite an intensive user of ChatGPT, and I feel that sometimes my previous experience was more satisfactory with, especially with writing stuff, and then with reasoning. Let's see, now it's just reformulating. Actually, the previous code was way too small, I think. Let's see now if it works properly. I do feel that there's like a big leap forward in the coding abilities actually, and the ability to just execute as well, like the code it just generated within the interface, it's crazy and it's really useful, I think. Allow, okay. Okay, so now
Hola.
it works, at least, like the whole interface. Here we can see we have like learn Spanish, like the centering and like the placing of the whole elements is not the best. What does familia mean? Family, correct. What does hola mean? This is hello, but I'm gonna click on friend. It was hello. What does sol mean? Sad, correct. Okay, so now the whole thing is working. Now the mouse and the tortilla. Let's just play the game. Okay. So it's quite minimalistic in this case, like the interface, but
Hola.
nice.
Gracias.
So now it seems to be working. Of course, like there's like some bugs and like the position of everything is not the best. So I would say like the working of the code is not the best, of course, and we had to repeat a second time. So I wouldn't say the performance is satisfactory, like completely satisfactory, but still it's quite impressive that in just like a couple minutes it's able to do this. Still it needs some more work, right? So I would say like a 5 out of 10 for this task. All right, so now that we have already tried the ChatGPT's interface and tested a little bit, the next step is just checking how to access the different models using the API. And in this case, we're going to use Google Colab and we're going to use Python to do so. So as we have already explained, there's like 3 main models, GPT-5, GPT-5 Mini, and GPT-5 Nano. Of course, just considering the new models, there's some archive and we will see, I'm going to use them in a bit. So for those of you that are not familiar with Python, the first step is always installing the libraries we're going to use. In this case, we need the OpenAI library because the main idea is that I want to use a model that is contained in OpenAI, so I need its library in order to interact with it. So to do so in Python, I'm gonna just execute the pip install OpenAI. That is this first command here. And the next step is loading into my system the OpenAI API key. Okay, for those of you who are wondering, basically the main idea is I want just to consume a model that is under OpenAI's, right? So I need to use the library, but in order to execute or consume this model, I need to authenticate myself. All right, we already saw that generating call requests to these models makes a cost, like has a cost associated to it. So in order to pay it and in order for OpenAI to know who's using the models, we need a token. To do so, we're just gonna go to Google and search for OpenAI API. All right, we're gonna go to the API platform. In this case, I'm gonna log in into the API platform. Now this is my API OpenAI API platform, and into dashboard. API keys. Here you will see all the API keys that you have right now. And in my case, I'm using this one, the testing, but you can just create a new secret key by setting a name here. And then when you create a key, like dummy key, when you create the key, the current value of the key, of the password, it's going to appear here. You need to copy it, and then you need to use it. All right. In case you're using Google Colab as well, it is quite easy to use them because you can just, in the secrets feature here, you can just generate a new secret. The secret basically is like a safe way to store these passwords. So in this case, I'm going to call it OpenAI API key. And here you just copy the value you just paste the value you just copied from the API dashboard. All right. And then we can easily import this token into our environment. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is like the most simple thing I can do, that is just sending a short prompt to GPT-5. So hello, GPT-5. All right, we need to do 3 different steps. The first one is import and set up the OpenAI client so it can talk to the API. So first I'm gonna just load the library I just downloaded from OpenAI, import OpenAI, and here I'm just gonna initialize the OpenAI client like this, client equals OpenAI, and then I'm gonna generate a response by calling the client, and in this case I'm gonna use the client.responses.create, and here we have two different parameters. We have the model. In this case, the model is the model I want to use. I'm using in this case GPT-5. And then the input. The input is the prompt I'm sending to the model. All right. And once this is done, what I'm going to do is print the response. Basically, like this generates a response variable here. So I'm just going to print the output text of the response. All right. Quite easy. Just a few lines of code. So if I execute this, I am sending to GPT, hello GPT 5. So it is the equivalent that in the interface, I'm just like writing and sending right away the hello GPT-5 prompt. So the answer is, hi there, how can I help you today? All right, it worked perfectly. So I'm gonna ask it to summarize in one sentence what makes GPT-5 different. And actually this is quite funny because none of the GPT-5 models know GPT-5 already exists. Okay, so they are not aware there's like a new GPT model in the market. GPT-5 is designed to deliver markedly stronger roaming and planning, broader multimodal. Okay, so now it's explaining all right. Before there was like, okay, I'm gonna execute it again just to make sure. Now, I don't have information beyond October 2024, so apparently it depends on the execution. It can generate like a proper answer, or it can just say it doesn't have information. This is actually quite not trustworthy. Like, but anyway, usually these kind of models, they have like a cutoff of the training data. So there's like a moment starting where they don't know anything that happened. All right, so now I'm just going to test like multiple GPT models. As I said before, we have 3 different variants of this GPT-5 model, but we have two, I'm going to use 2 older models, but we can actually use many more. And in this case, the first thing is I'm going to use a GPT 3.5 Turbo. This was one of the default models to use for API development before. And in this case, I'm gonna send a prompt how many R's are in the word strawberry. Okay, I wanted to use this prompt because actually this model here, the GPT 3.5 Turbo, is a model that sometimes fails doing this prompt. Sometimes it does it properly. As you can see here, this is already executed. So we can see that there are 4 R's in the word strawberry and there are only 3 R's. But depends, if I execute it again, maybe now it is gonna do it properly. So now it did it properly. There are 3 R's in the word strawberry. So it depends on the execution. Some of the times it does it well, some of the times it fails doing so. But starting with GPT-4, this prompt was already overcome basically. So now they all executed properly. So now I'm just going to use a GPT-4o mini. And in this case, we will see that the answer is right. And you see that to change the model I'm using, it's as easy as just changing the model name here. For those of you wondering where do I obtain these, basically in the list we saw before of all the models with the price, you can just select and copy the corresponding name for each of the models, and you can just find the proper string and you paste it here within the model, and you can start using it right away. All right. So I already did the GPT-4o mini, and now we're going to use GPT-5. We have it here, and GPT-5 mini and GPT-5 nano, of course. We see GPT-5 is quite concise. It only says 3. All right. Let's see GPT-5 mini. There are 3. It made it properly as well. And let's see the nano. I think the nano, in this time it used like natural language 3. There are R's at the 3rd. Okay, and it says the positions. All right, so now what I want to do is compare GPT-5 with its minor versions, basically. So to do so, what I'm going to send is a prompt that is generate a funny story that starts with, and the variable story here, and the story is, and then all at once it struck me this was the last time I would ever see him. All right. Actually, I was surprised because this prompt takes quite a long time to be executed for all of them. So I'm just gonna execute all of them now, and we will have to wait for a little bit. Actually, you see that using the models, using the API is super easy and intuitive, and basically it's just like a few lines of code. Later we will see there are like some more parameters we can use to generate this response, but the main idea is that it is super easy to get started with Python and start interacting with these models using the API instead of the ChatGPT interface. All right, so now we have the first response for the GPT-5. I thought briefly, crazily about the rescue, grabbing Winston and running, but I could picture security footage of me sprinting across the lobby with a small beige rectangle clutched to my chest. All right, so it did like a whole story, and we can see it is quite long. So it is quite wide as well. All right, so let's go to the next one and see how is it going. Okay, here we have quite a long story as well, but it's not as long as the one before. Then at once it struck me this was the last time I would ever see him. He was in the middle of the living room, as he always was, halfway between the couch and the coffee table, like a tiny circular island of stubborn purpose. I feel like the writing of these new models has not improved as much as the coding capabilities, for instance, because like the outputs I'm seeing while using ChatGPT, like I use ChatGPT a lot for structuring and for template making and stuff. And the results are quite similar to the ones I obtained before having GPT-5 available. And I don't see much comedy on this. This was moment. But anyway, like we can see the difference between GPT-5 and GPT-5 mini is like a little bit shorter. And with the Nano, it is quite impressive because actually I've tried this several times, and all the times like the output has been longer than the mini and close to the GPT-5 one. But still, the writing of the Nano is a little bit worse than the other two. Like you can see like quite a big difference between the mini and the Nano jump here. All right, so now let's go for the new API features in GPT-5, and there's basically two new features that we can use while using the models. All right, so the first one is the minimal reasoning effort. So the reasoning effort basically is a parameter that controls how many reasoning tokens the model generates before producing a response. All right. So there's like a new minimal value. Like before we had three main levels: low, medium, and high. In this case, it's like a low amount of tokens to be used. Medium is like the standard, like the default, and high is like to use more reasoning tokens in order to obtain a better answer. In this case, they added the minimal level that basically produces just a lower amount than low. Basically, like it tries to get the best answer using the minimal amount of tokens to reason. All right, so I'm gonna just send the same prompt to all four levels. In order to just add this parameter to the response, you can see here we have exactly the same as I was doing before. We have the response with the client response create model. In this case, I'm going to use the GPT-5 Nano, or actually we can use the mini. That is going to be the medium one. And I can send the input test prompt. I'm going to go for it later. And here we are adding this new parameter with the reasoning and the effort, the level. Okay, so I'm iterating in a loop for level in this list here: minimal, low, medium, and high, and I'm printing the response. So I will obtain for different answers basically. So the prompt is: a farmer has 17 sheep, all but 9 run away. Each remaining sheep eats 2.5 kilograms of grass per day. If the farmer has 200 kilograms of grass stored, how many days will the grass last? Explain your reasoning step by step and show all calculations. So now what will be see here is that we have the exactly same output for the 4 levels to compare. So in the minimal case, actually we haven't seen, but the higher the level, the longer it takes to respond. So the minimal is actually right away then the low is almost instant as well. But then for the medium and for the high, it takes like longer to process and generate a response. And for all the levels, it answered exactly the same. So the answer is properly done. But in this case, I think like the biggest difference is like the time that it takes to reason the whole problem. All right. Another parameter is the verbosity. Actually, the verbosity determines how many output tokens are generated. This is quite interesting because sometimes when we send a prompt to the model, what we want the model is to generate a concise or a brief answer, basically, to our prompt. So in this case, the verbosity allowed us to generate, to define if we want like longer with more tokens response, or if we want a shorter with a lower amount of tokens. So I'm just gonna do exactly the same. We have 3 different levels: low, medium, and high in this case. And what I'm gonna do here is just generate different responses for all 3 levels. And in this case, the test prompt is gonna be write a Python function is anagram that returns true if A and B are anagrams, ignoring case, space, and punctuation. And then explain your approach, state time, and space complexity. So basically, I'm asking it to generate a Python code. And in this case, during the live stream, they emphasize a lot that this verbosity can be really useful, like the low verbosity when coding, because in the end, when we expect the model to code for us, we don't want the model to just generate a natural language answer, explaining the whole thing, but we want the code itself. And of course, we want still some explanations. We will see that like the lower, like the low verbosity generate some explanations, but like the first thing is like we get the code, and then it generates a little bit the approach. In the end, in the prompt, I am asking to provide to explain the approach. So of course, like the model needs to generate some natural language explanation to me. Okay, so we will see verbosity low, like the whole Python code, and then the quick test and the approach that it generated. All right, but we can see that the medium one is a little bit longer, that it generates more tokens, and the verbosity high generates a really well-detailed approach and explains everything using way more tokens. So basically, this is really useful when coding. All right, so now let's just move to the benchmarking of the GPT-5 model. And during the live stream, there was no a single benchmarking between the GPT-5 model and its main competitors, but all the benchmarkings were performed using the previous models of the GPT family. And actually, that was something really interesting for me, because it would usually mean that when compared to the competitors, basically it's underperforming. But in some of the charts, the GPT-5 has achieved the highest scores. So let's just focus a little bit on the charts that were shown during the live stream, and I will make some comments comparing to Grok 4, for instance, that is like the latest model that has been launched in the last weeks. So if we start checking the coding performance of GPT-5, it basically achieves around 75%, like 74.9% to be specific, on the SWE bench that basically tests different models using real-world Python problems. And as you can see in the chart on the screen, it outperforms by a lot its previous model that was the O3. If we now go to the math and scientific reasoning, we see that GPT-5 actually excels in this field, and it gets a score of around 95% on the AIME 2025 benchmarking. That basically it is a competition of math without tools. Basically, math, like the different models are tested with math problems. And it gets a 93% on the Harvard MIT mathematical tournament, and without using tools. In this case, in both benchmarkings, it gets a better performance than Grok 4. So it is a good advantage for the GPT-5 model. If we now go to the humanities last exam, we see that actually GPT-5 gets a really, really good score. The humanities last exam is a challenging benchmark of 2,500 hand-curated PhD level questions that are from the maths, physics, chemistry, and linguistic fields. And according to OpenAI's published results, GPT-5 scores around at 25% without tools and around at 42% in its Pro variant. But we need to be aware that the Grok 4 score without using tools was around 26%. In this case, meaning that GPT-5 is a little bit behind than the Grok 4 model. All right, so now this is coming to an end. We have done actually a lot of things. We have tested the ChatGPT interface with a new GPT-5 model. We have tested the API as well. We have 3 variants that we can use however we want. And we have seen all the upgrades and the new features that the GPT-5 upgrade has provided to us, and especially the customization. So as a main conclusion for today's video, in my case, and for this GPT-5 model, is that it isn't the AGI or artificial general intelligence breakthrough that some imagine. And in my case, at least, it doesn't feel like I'm just carrying a PhD expert in my pocket that I can talk to it right away. I don't think there's like such a big upgrade compared to the previous model, but still, it is a really good user experience upgrade, because in the end, what we have right now is a single model, a single name, GPT-5. And I'm not the one making the choice of if I need more power or if I need more reasoning, but the model itself, depending on the prompt I'm sending, generates this like just sends the prompt to whatever model it is more appropriate to. Still, I feel this can generate at some points frustration, because in the end I'm sending a prompt and sometimes I expect the model to have like a deeper level of reasoning, and for whatever reason GPT-5 decides it is an easy prompt so it can answer right away. But still, I think it's a really well executed upgrade, and especially for the non-technical people that as we saw in the introduction, I think ChatGPT is the default tool for these people. I think is a really, really good upgrade. Regarding the new customizations, and just going with the same topic with these non-technical people, that is like a really important part of the users that ChatGPT has. I think it's been a really good upgrade as well, because now we can personalize a little bit. We can just change the personality. I mean, in the end, changing the color of the chat is not a really, really important upgrade, but still it makes you feel you can just customize, you can just chat with a model that is yours, basically. So I think it is a really important user experience upgrade. So basically, for most users, GPT-5 will remain the most accessible and versatile AI tool on the market. It's an evolution, I would say, not a revolution itself. And depending on your needs, that might be exactly what you wanted from this upgrade. It is important to notice that now the Plus users have some limits as well. In my case, so far I haven't found any problem, but still, I like the model is only 2 days old. So we will see throughout the month, like if these limits just go against us, because in the end, it is important to say that this new model is available for everyone, even the free users. But still, the users that pay like the lower subscription, that is the Plus subscription, will have some limitations as well. So they don't have like an unlimited access to the GPT-5. So we will see how this goes. But basically, this new model represents a step change in the artificial intelligence capability, because it unifies all the models into a single name, GPT-5. It still has like the domain expert level performance, and it works really, really well. And another important feature is that now it is safer, but still helpful. So whenever we send a prompt that might be dangerous, the model doesn't refuse right away, but makes an explanation. And in a friendly way tries to explain us why it cannot answer our prompt. So I think that overall this new model is a really, really good upgrade. And as I said, we will see over the next days how it evolves and how these new limitation and tiers work for everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope this was useful for you and hope you can play and have fun with GPT-5.